It all ends in a day. By myself, I guess. Venus comes out of the bathroom with a third pregnancy test. Grace is sitting by the door, anxiously waiting. It's positive. Venus's voice startled Grace. She jumped a little before she started to process what her wife had said. It's positive. Really? Questioned Grace with an excited tone. Venus looked up at her, excitement radiating from her eyes, her face going from shock to ecstatic. It's positive. The treatment worked. Darling, we're having a baby. Venus lunged for Grace, giving her a massive bear hug and crying tears of joy into her shoulders. For the rest of the night, they held each other, talking to the pomegranate seed-sized baby, telling them how excited they were to meet them. And, as every couple does, they even talked about what gender they expected it to be. You know, I just have this gut feeling it's going to be a girl, Grace softly said, looking into her wife's eyes. She could see the joy radiating from Venus's gorgeous forest green eyes. I'm not quite sure about that, my love. I think it's going to be a boy. I can see it now. I can see us walking out of the hospital, our son cradled in my arms, and it is a beautiful sight. Venus thought about it. She thought about the idea of holding her newborn, freshly swaddled in a sage green blanket. See, they've decided on more of a plant and floral theme for their nursery. It brought tears to her eyes just thinking about how beautiful the sight is going to be. And as the months went by, Venus and Grace got more excited for their baby. They set up the nursery, having beautifully handcrafted and mighty expensive furniture. They painted the walls, white on 3 of them, and a beautiful forest green accent wall, with rose and vine decals. They had their best friends throw the baby shower, a beautiful plant/goddess theme. Both of them looked gorgeous, and Venus's baby bump started to show through her dress. They woke up in the best mood this morning, because today was the day they were going to find out the gender. While Grace prayed for a girl, Venus prayed for a boy, but both would be happy with either. Venus woke up first, making herself a cup of coffee, watching the November snowfall, letting her know that Thanksgiving is getting closer. She sighed, finished her coffee, and went to get dressed. She walked out of their room into her study, figuring she could work on some cases before they had to go to the appointment. Grace and Venus had decided on their way to the appointment that they would get it written on a letter, and then give the letter to their friends, Liam and Ava, who threw them the baby shower and would now throw them a gender reveal party. For this, they chose a beautiful cabin in the woods to do their gender reveal at. It was beautiful. The snow resting on the trees. It was the most amazing sight they've ever seen. The day they had their gender reveal party was amazing. As they looked out at the crowd of their closest friends, they saw the anticipation on all of their faces, which they assumed mirrored their own 2 faces. They took the needle to the black balloon and jumped with excitement when the confetti rained blue. The day was beautiful, and the night calmed down, and everyone left for their own homes. The snow came down harder and turned into more of a blizzard. Venus and Grace had rented the cabin out for the night as well, and decided they were going to stay there for the night, cuddled up next to each other and next to the fire, whispering sweet nothings to each other and the baby. They loved each other, and they loved their baby. Eventually they went off to bed, Grace having a bad gut feeling but not saying anything to Venus, as not wanting to scare her. Venus woke up in the middle of the night, her stomach hurting so badly, almost as if she was having period cramps. Babe, she shook Grace awake. Babe, please, help, it hurts, Venus cried out, shaking Grace until she was awake. Venus, what's going on? Where does it hurt? How can I help? Grace questioned her, panicking from her wife crying, and now, what she could tell as, a pool of blood in the bed right underneath Venus. Baby, you're bleeding. Please talk to me. What's going on? Grace, please. It hurts so badly. I think something's wrong with the baby. Do you think we should go to the ER? Make sure everything's okay? Grace looked panicked. Her wife was a sobbing mess, crying from the pain, and Grace hated seeing her in that state. Yes, please take me. Venus held her baby bump, praying to the gods, and any that would listen, that her pain would stop and her baby boy would be okay. Grace picked her up, cradling her in her arms. She walked out and put Venus in the car, fastening her seatbelt and reassuring her. Grace wiped the tears from her own eyes, and she wiped the snow off her car. Getting into her Escalade, she quickly put the car in reverse, struggling with the snow a little bit, but eventually winning and getting on the way to the ER. They arrived at the ER, rushing in and explaining to the nurse what had happened. Venus was immediately taken back. They pumped her full of medicine and started running tests, doing their best to stop the bleeding. Venus eventually fell asleep, the pain and bleeding finally stopping. Grace held her hand as she fell asleep, looking at her every now and then, knowing that this wasn't going to end well, but letting her wife sleep anyways. "Hi," the doctor says as he walked in, keeping his voice a little more hushed once he realized that Venus was sleeping peacefully. "I'm so sorry to disturb you, but I have some bad news." "Would you like me to come back when she wakes up?" the doctor questioned, giving Grace a puzzled look. Grace stutters. "It's okay. I'm sure she would like to know now. Give me a minute to wake her up." Grace gently started to brush her fingers through Venus's hair, pushing it back from her forehead and quietly whispering her name. Eventually, she starts to wake up, immediately reaching down to her belly to feel her bump, as she has been doing for the past 6 months. "My love," Venus whispers, slowly opening her eyes, letting him adjust to the small light. "What's going on? Why do you look so worried, darling?" Venus stared into her eyes, waiting for the bad news to come. "She's awake," Grace said, looking back at the doctor. "Tell us what's going on." "I'm so sorry to tell you this," the doctor said, looking between Grace and Venus, and with the horrified expressions on their faces, he knew that they knew what was coming. "But you have had a miscarriage. I'm so deeply sorry, but your baby is no longer with you." Grace looked at Venus, and Venus returned the same look, both looking horrified and wished that all this was just a bad dream. Although it wasn't a dream, it was just a heartbreaking and horrific day.